Let's see.
All right, I'll go to the
we're
YouTube
live.
All right, so we'll see here in a moment as I keep updating the YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTube works.
All right, send out. All right, let's all send out the link. So we'll see here in a moment as I keep updating the YouTube.
The YouTube works.
All right, send out. All right, let's all send out the link. All right, I gotta see here in a moment. All right, I gotta close the YouTube. That's
Welcome to NRG Media.
Hey, it's an all NRG thing now.
Yeah, screw Mike.
I heard my echo there somewhere. All right, so I'll tweet this out. Where am I getting echo? Is that from?
Probably you. Probably you.
Yeah, because you don't have headphones on.
I'll put headphones on, jerks.
Yeah, I have no outside audio.
Jeez.
Yeah,
you guys
same.
Yeah, we're the problem.
Hold on, all I have is like my daughter's purple. Oh man.
Please wear them.
Well, they still look cooler than John's.
Oh, there's still the echo.
Hold on. No, I just plugged them in. Yeah. Why is that still happening?
Someone's headsets are just turned crazy loud. I bet it's Josh.
No.
Why is that still happening?
Mine's over the ear, so you can't hear mine.
It's Josh.
How could?
That's part of this is all live.
Wait. I wonder. Hold on?
Mine's over the ear, so you can't.
Hold on?
Mine's over the ear, so you
Whoa. What's going on?
This is a disaster.
Hold on. I think I got it fixed. Maybe. Because
I don't think anyone can have the YouTube thing up at all.
Yeah, I had another YouTube window open.
That'd be it. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, that's part of it is having YouTube on.
Yeah, I got no echo.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm good now.
Hold on. Let me tweet the link. Can we even tell people are in here? Yeah. Well, I could open YouTube and mute it.
7 people are watching us.
Yes.
Oh goodness.
All right. Hold on. I'm gotta tag all you jerks. No Mike. No. All right. No Mike Schaefer. Didn't want to do it.
Cindelar's watching. Hello, Alex.
Of course he is.
Hello, Alex.
All right. Now
That poor kid's got nothing to do.
Oh man, no bunting at all.
All right.
Poor guy.
All right. So I am gonna watch this.
Cheers.
So if anybody, hey, look, hello. Oh, we can see these. Hello. And
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh,
Let me see.
that avatar is awesome.
Oh, dope.
What is that? A toaster with a battle helmet on?
So if anyone wants to suggest a subject or comment on my daughter's headphones, I can show them up on the screen. So we can talk about whatever. Oh, cool. I can see it now. We got 12 people watching. And we're just trying this whole thing out right now. So anyway, what's up, everybody? How was your weekend?
It was fine. Very uneventful.
I watched all of Tiger King.
Okay, so you watched the whole thing. How many episodes is it?
7.
Half hour?
Jack, it's amazing.
Like 45 minutes.
45 minutes times 7.
Yeah. You'll get it done in a couple days, honestly.
Yeah, Gary watched
Not
the
hard.
whole thing on Tuesday, Stibs. Like he left work and then the next day he was like, "So you guys want to talk about Tiger King?" I watched the whole
because
thing.
I mentioned it in the crossover.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. My wife watched like an episode and a half last night and she described it to me. It probably took her an hour to describe it to me. And every time I thought she was done, she would go to a new level of something that was out of control. Bishop just left us, by the way.
Oh no. Good at technology.
Who would have thought that of the 4 of us that would have problems with it? Just saying.
John would have bet $1 million on himself and lost.
Yes. I'm good. I'll be fine.
I remember Next Gen from 1997.
So should
Inside radio broadcast jokes live on the
Is
internet.
that Garen or Jaren wants to know what exactly are Wang nachos?
Okay, so this is the guy whose lawn
John Bishop's fault too.
This is the guy whose lawn I mowed a couple of years ago to raise money for Morning Hope.
Oh, Jaren is?
Yeah. So Tunnel Walker Shame and I mowed his lawn. Like no.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we sat and drank beers and smoked cigars in his driveway afterwards.
Nice.
What exactly are Wang nachos? I don't know. We need John here to tell us what's.
One day on Unsportsmanlike
Karen,
Conduct.
sorry, I said it wrong. I knew I always make it wrong.
Did it happen before, Jack? Because you had already had this argument with him, right? Before it came onto our show.
I've had every argument you guys have ever had with him before you have. I literally wrote the book on having the same arguments you guys did, and then I listen to them. It's like deja vu.
So we were talking about like the nacho cheese with a little tang to it, and John Bishop called it Wang. So he goes, "You get that little cheese with the Wang in it," and we were like, "John, what the hell are you talking about? A Wang is not what you think it is."
There was a segment you guys did near the Super Bowl, and I'm thinking 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, this is a while ago now.
And it was the first time he said it, and you guys didn't really react to it. And
yeah, you tweeted at us, right?
I'm driving my car, and I had to pull over to tweet you guys. I was like, did he just say Wang?
I pulled it out. I caught it.
Oh, you pulled out the Wang?
Yeah.
And then it became a thing later, but there was an original Wang mention originally, and he thinks it means something that I don't know. He's not using that word in a smart way.
No, it means penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he did that.
He
and
puts
then,
a penis in a lot of things.
Yeah, and so
a lot of weird things.
So then we basically just ran with it, and later that year, we ended up. Stibbs, of course, wasn't invited because he never is. Chafe, Jack, John, and myself, we got together and watched the Nebraska-Penn State game, and for some reason, we just decided to call it Wang Nachos, and so I think
brought cheese dip. That's part of the reason why.
Yeah, so we watched the game at Shafe's house.
With a little Wang in it.
And now whenever we hang out, we just call it Wang Nachos. It's a stupid inside joke, but it's like 4 years old and it will never end. So there you go. That's Wang Nachos. And sometimes we actually eat cheese chips with cheese.
And the first Wang Nachos, and since Stibbs wasn't there, I can't remember if he was invited or not. But the first you were, and you didn't come. So all of this woe is me stuff about not being included. You've said no to us so many times.
Jack, what time do you usually try to start this thing? At like 6:37?
What? Wang Nacho? It was a Saturday. It was a Husker.
No, the first one was a Saturday?
The first one was a Saturday, yeah.
It was the Nebraska Penn State game. And I wish Schaefer were here because it was at Schaefer's house. But he bailed on us at the last minute.
Yeah, he's not feeling well.
So let's make fun of him instead.
These guys. Oh, here's Bishop back. Hold on.
Oh,
there you go.
Hey, John.
Technology boy.
Yeah, my usual rock solid internet. Right as the show started, went pop.
Hey, you know what? I'd rather your internet go out tonight than tomorrow. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. We didn't have any problems last week at all, and that was with 2 kids playing video games the whole time while we were doing a show, and it never had any issues. So, oh well.
All right, hold on. Okay, question from Joel. I don't know what this is at all, so I hope it's not bad that I brought it up.
No, please go ahead, bring it up.
Well, what is this? I have no idea what's happening.
You haven't watched? You haven't seen the video?
I'll retweet it, Jack. Hold on.
Listen, I haven't paid. No offense.
Yeah, you're news guy right now.
Like
you've been busy.
Hold on, I love you guys. I love you guys. I listen to your show. I'm like the P1 to your show. I tweet at you constantly. I have not listened to sports radio for 3 weeks. So no offense to you.
No, apparently, NRG's been trying to push this Alexa or talkie box thing, as we've now come to call it on the program.
You have, yes.
Yes, I have. And they did a commercial with Damon laying in his house, which looks suspiciously like an NRG office, and he's laying there and he's saying, "Alexa, turn on 1620 The Zone," and then he's yelling at his wife to bring him sesame sticks, and then he rolls over and goes to sleep. So there's your commercial.
All right.
I almost found it. One sec, Jack. Computer's very slow with this streaming stuff.
Yeah, if you send me the link, I can actually stream it on we can watch it together.
Wait, really?
Can you?
I think so. Oh, there's the echo again. Who did that? Who?
Well, it's probably.
Oh, I like this version. This is nice. Wait.
It's like the Brady Bunch. Like the Brady Bunch. Be like Mike Brady and point up and look up at each of us. Look up at each of us, and we'll look back at you like the Brady Bunch.
Wait, so I got to look this way?
Yeah, you look down at Jack.
Wait.
No, you're looking up at Josh, and then Josh looks at you, and then you point. You got to look down. Yeah, and then you look straight ahead to Mike. Look straight ahead to Mike. There you go. And then Mike looks back at you.
No, wrong way.
He looks back at you. Yeah, and then everyone looks up at each other. It's like the Brady Bunch.
All right.
God,
And then I turn over here.
It's hard.
What is your favorite Monday night show that is, what is this? What is your favorite Monday night show on 1620 that is sometimes on Fridays?
Let's see.
Any show
I
that
think
Ben produces is good with
The
you.
Odd Couples on its
Yes.
7.
It's a Ben joint. That's what it is. It's a Ben joint.
Stibbs, you got any stories about Ben?
Mm-mm.
Nope, none.
Mm-mm.
Dang it, I should have grabbed a drink.
Dude,
Yeah, I made sure to do that.
I should have grabbed a drink as he takes a drink of a
It's
drink.
You olds like this?
Oh,
That's
sweet.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was ever an official logo, but I remember that logo.
75?
What year?
The 1975, yeah.
You were 18. It was like your senior year, right?
John's?
Yes.
No, that
Yeah.
was not my senior year.
Oh.
Senior year. You guys went out and
No, these are from Sam's Burgers. Sam's Restaurant, whatever it's called. My
Yes, Sam's.
grandpa-
Remember, Jack? There was one up on Vine.
my grandpa
on,
owned
48th and
a
Vine.
couple of those.
those Sam's burger joints, they would
Yeah.
burgers would be like 8 cents. They would be the most
Yes.
ridiculously cheap thing you could ever think of, because I know McDonald's hamburgers used to be 39 cents, cheeseburgers 49. You remember that, John?
Correct.
Don't you?
Yes, I
39
do.
for burgers, 49 for cheeseburgers. Sam's undercut them locally.
Hell yeah, baby. That was my
It
grandpa.
Crazy.
He owned those.
Dude, did he make any money?
Your grandpa owned Sam's?
I
He
guess
he franchised them.
I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
think.
guess you didn't inherit anything from him, because they charge like 8 cents for burgers.
Okay, so where was the franchise?
It's actually right close to where I live. There's a mortuary right next to Maloney's on 72nd, just north of Blondo, south of Blondo.
It's not still open though, right?
No, it's a mortuary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he franchise the one in Lincoln too?
I don't know. I'll have to ask. But yeah,
But
they
the
had
one in
these
Lincoln was up
glasses.
about 48th and Vine.
They had these glasses that year, and I think they did it multiple years. But I have one for every opponent of Nebraska in 1975, or maybe
That's
it was
nice.
the year before. I don't know. I've got like a TCU one, a Hawaii one. I don't know. I think they're all on here. The usual Big 12 fare, obviously. Indiana that year, Arizona. Yeah, they're
Nice.
sweet. They're very cool. They're
Those
mint. They're in
actually,
the box.
if I
when my
remember right,
grandpa
those
died.
weren't bad hamburgers.
No, they were good. No,
Like they were like Broncos, I think that they talked
Yeah,
about.
yeah, it was kind of like Broncos, but it was always, it was big red, white, and blue as I recall, and I don't know. Every time I'd pass one, I'd want to eat at one, but I maybe was there 2 or 3 times. That
The
was
only
it.
one I went to was the one on North 48th Street in Lincoln, which was by the original batting cages in Lincoln.
Yes,
Yeah, that was the one that I went to.
All I know is that they used to have pickle races on the grill because my dad worked there in high school.
pickle races on the grill. What is that?
They'd like cut a hole in the middle of the pickle and then
Yeah.
lay the pickles on the grill. And if you poured water behind them, they'd slide and shoot across the grill and they'd race across the grill.
That's good.
Ian says, I feel like a casting director picking out headshots for a B movie that briefly features an airplane pilot landing his prop engine plane.
Hi, Ian.
Bishop,
Yes.
I
Bishop,
appreciate you watching my stream in return.
Bishop looks like he's driving a party bus right now.
I do.
Yeah,
See, the thing is, I could turn this lamp on next to me, but I don't think it makes it. I mean, is that
Let it
better?
recalibrate.
I
Ben
mean,
says figures the
No, I
ginger
like the
has to have
creepy
the
lighting
brightest
better.
lighting. Thanks, Bishop.
I like the creepy lighting.
I don't like using the big lighting in here. The overhead lights. I only like the lamp, or I like it dark. I've never liked using the big lights in this room.
oh, here's a fun question. What?
Fun.
Fun. What story you've had to cover? Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys have really. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so much a news guy unless he's talking about like discussing something weird that happened, with Nebraska football.
Well, I would say the toughest one for me was there was this guy who owned a bunch of large cats in Oklahoma, and hardest story. It's Jack's probably the only one that's going to remember this one, and I wouldn't so much say I covered it, but I was at college at the time, and I had to be at the trial when Roger Bjorklund was on trial for the murder of
Candy Harms.
What was her name?
Candy
Harms?
Yep.
Yeah. And I had to be in there the day that they showed the autopsy photos.
Oh, fun.
And that was, yeah. And I was only there because we had to trade off and do like assignments at UNL in broadcasting school. So that happened to be my day. Yeah, that was not pleasant.
Yikes.
Wow.
But then I would say probably after that, the Hallam tornado. That was pretty, especially, I was at, we were actually doing Nebraska softball that day because they were in the regionals. They were hosting the regionals over at Bowling. And when the storm started coming in, and of course they canceled the games, and then we went into warning mode, severe weather mode, and I went south. I never drove down far enough during the actual tornado, but then after everything had blown over, I was one of the first reporters into Hallam, and that was eerie, very eerie.
Yeah,
I would say those are the toughest.
Awkward transition, but Mike says hardest story wasn't that the rendezvous outside of the 1620 studio rim shot.
Yeah. Hold on. How about you guys covering the release of the first Pelini tape?
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Fun is a word.
Josh got to be the one to yell down the mic. He yelled down the IFB to me and Michael because we were at DJs, we were at Exarban. Right? We were at DJs in Exarban, and I remember Josh saying, "Guys, you might want to check out Deadspin."
I was at my grandfather-in-law's funeral when it happened in Iowa.
Sorry for your loss.
So, thank you. Anyway, I don't really know what to react.
Yeah, that was awkward. That whole, because we all, of course, we knew about it, and so when it was released, like the funniest thing, and it'd be awesome if he was watching right now. So I recorded that into the system, and then I edited it so we could play it on the air. And so I had to take out all the cuss words and everything, and then
it wasn't already there.
No, it was not already there.
Interesting.
But then, because there was a lot of rumors and accusations being made, our boss at the time was like, delete it off the server. And I'm like, what? He's like, delete it all off the server. I said, even the one I recorded off Deadspin, delete it off the server. So I had to delete it off for no reason. I had to delete it off the server. But yeah, because there was only one copy of it, Jack. Just one.
Uno.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never heard it.
Yeah.
What was on it?
Oh.
Read my book someday.
Which one? Well, is it going to be your book or Steve Sipple's book?
It's got to be your book.
No, it'll be mine.
Steve Sipple's book will be called The Weasel Tipster.
Or we've got to be careful.
Well, it's this looking with OJ for the real killer and looking for the real leaker here, or something that's still going on. All right, let's see here. What do we have? We got any more questions? Just like what?
Jordan says, "Who let John wear that jacket for Wang Nachos?"
Great question.
There you go. So there it is.
Look at that stupid
right there,
face.
baby. Right there.
Unreal. Creighton misses the Sweet 16 again.
Hey, let me tell you guys something. Like, I'm curious where you're at in this thing. Like, I have zero interest in watching old sports right now, and I know everybody, like ESPN's doing them, everyone's doing them. Like, it just depresses me. I've
watched almost nothing.
Are you guys doing that?
Jack, is that why anytime somebody tweets at us telling us to do a Be Kind Husker Rewind pod that you just don't ever respond to anybody?
Pretty much.
I was like, dang, Jack really doesn't want to do this because I'm always like, yeah, I hope that we can do it. I hope Jack wants to do it. But then Jack never responds. So I'm like, you know what? I'm taking the hint.
We probably could. I mean, I don't mind. I would do one if people love that incredibly amazing podcast so much, and there's no way anyone would ever copy it. But if people love it that much, I would consider doing it. But no, just like
Sounds like someone's copied it.
like I'm watching all these people like live tweet old and like CBS is playing old NCAA tournament games. Oh my
Yeah, I
God,
don't care.
I'd rather jam a needle in my eye than put myself through watching that and like, oh, this is kind of a nice second place. It sucks. I'm not going to do it. Next sports I watch are going to be live sports.
The only sports I've watched, Jack, are you and Johnny's Twitch stream.
Oh, those are.
And I'm not kidding. Those are the only things I've watched.
Dang. I like the old
Sports-related.
sports. I watched some of the Knicks Bulls 1994 Christmas Day game today.
See, I kind of do it randomly already, so it doesn't seem like a cool thing to get to do right now when it's being broadcast. Like I go back on YouTube and watch old Broncos games. I
Yeah.
won't say all the time, but somewhat regularly. So it's
It's
not like,
Yeah,
oh, cool, ESPN's
It
airing
makes me sad.
X.
Doesn't it make you guys sad? I just
Well, I haven't done it
I
since
don't
now.
want to focus on that.
Well, I haven't. I'm like Stibbs. I occasionally, if I'm kind of vegging out, and this is when I was still doing prep for basketball games, I just dial up YouTube and call up some old game, like old Super Bowls or old NASCAR race or just anything, just random stuff, just to have something on in the background to make some noise, but not for me to actually like zero in and really focus on. But like today, I noticed on YouTube someone had uploaded an old Super Bowl I haven't seen, for a long time, and so I randomly watched a little bit of that, but I haven't like sat and watched an entire game from start to finish. Occasionally, I still like to go back and look just to see how things, if things were as I remembered them, if certain things happened the way I remembered them, and how they were covered. But I haven't watched any of the stuff that's on CBS or ESPN. I watched maybe like an inning of some game on ESPN Classic on Saturday, but again, a lot of that was in the background while I was doing stuff on my computer.
Yeah, I'm not sitting there intently. Like yesterday when I was eating breakfast, I was rewatching an Arizona-Illinois basketball game from when I was in high school because it's, I think, my favorite college basketball game ever. But I wasn't. I think I turned it on when there was like 5 minutes left, and then I watched it until the end of regulation, and then I turned it off.
I just don't want to watch. I don't know. For some reason, for me, it just it depresses me.
Well, how much of that too, Jack, is all the stuff that you're doing right now? Like you
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
earlier,
And
you're not listening to sports
I'll
talk
tell you
radio.
what, like I haven't even. That's the thing. I haven't watched anything on Netflix. Like I haven't binge watched anything. I haven't watched Tiger King and none of it. Like if I
That would make you happy. You should do that.
Yes, it would. Do it.
well, I'm doing 2 shows now. So I'm doing the morning, and then I go home for a couple hours. I come back and do an afternoon show and plan that. So I get home, and then I usually do a grocery store run on the way back. I see what my mom needs, my sister, and everything. And so I get back at about 7. And so by that time, I get back and I got crap, everybody, we got crap to do here. And I'm
What are
usually,
your 2 shows that you're watching right now?
I'm not watching any shows. I'm watching.
You said you had 2 that you do in the morning. Oh, you're hosting shows.
I'm doing 2 shows.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I host 2 shows, so I don't get back.
So have you watched anything like just for entertainment the last 2
The
weeks?
only thing I'll turn on is when I'm making food in my kitchen or something, and you're gonna laugh at me, but I turn on. Well, Bishop won't, but everyone else will. Is I turn on
MASH.
Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.
Oh, I like
Yes.
that show.
That's stupid.
Yeah, see, all right, it's him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.
Oh, it's
I
fun.
don't know what it is, but that show, I don't know.
It's an easy show to watch. It's comfort food,
It is.
and like literally.
And I make most of the food in our house, so I usually come home and I'm making stuff for, for breakfast and lunches and stuff, and so I put that on. That's the only thing. And then I'll watch, cable news. Sadly enough, the rest of the time.
Ooh. Ugh. Now that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, but because I'm trying to follow this whole thing, so
No, and I understand you have to. I'm
Wrigley,
I'm
get down.
thankful I don't have to. Yeah. Wrigley's getting excited. She caught 2 frisbees today in midair. I was very
Nice.
proud.
wow.
Is that like the first time that's happened?
Yeah, well, she's got this. It's not one of those hard plastic frisbees, but it's more rubbery.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't throw true like a regular frisbee does. But finally today, with a little bit of wind, I was able to get it up in the air a little bit, and she could go after it. And she caught it a couple of times in midair. So I was very proud of her.
My old dog was amazing at that. It was awesome. I miss playing that because my dog now won't fetch anything. He just doesn't care. I'll throw something, he'll look at me like, no, you can go get it.
If I ever get time back to go to, I'm still behind on Better Call Saul. I assume those are still airing. So
Yeah. Have you
Season 5
started
just
this
started.
year?
yeah,
Have you started?
yeah, I'm into this year, but I haven't watched it since all this started. So
So you're probably what, 3 episodes behind?
yeah.
Last week's was awesome.
Yes, last week's was the best one so far.
I just got caught up.
So I got to do that, and then I do shows nobody else is doing though. Like I love Sneaky Pete on Amazon, so I got to get back to that.
What is that? Never heard of it.
From Gone in 60 Seconds, right?
Giovanni
Yeah,
Ribisi.
Ribisi.
Yeah, Ribisi. So, all right. Any of you Irish sweet ass? Any of you have a holy crap that was live on air mistakes? LOL.
Josh said the F word.
Yeah, I was gonna say I said the F word last year.
You did?
Well,
Yeah.
You still have a job?
yes, he did.
Yeah, well, Stips caught it.
Well,
thankfully.
it didn't go out over the air.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I just had a brain fart. This is the first time I'd ever said that or like shit on the air before, and I don't know what happened. It was so weird because immediately we all were like, John was like, "What are you doing? Why did you say that?" I was like, "I didn't do it on purpose."
What were you talking about?
I don't remember.
Remember, it was when Corey called in as that guy always talking about having sex. He was like, "Hey, it's me." Something.
It was during the draft,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he called in and he said something having sex, and Josh just went, "I fucking love that guy."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, it was a weird brain fart.
Well, your job.
Jack
every day."
Jack was around for probably my best moment, and I didn't even catch it. Remember?
We have that drop still, right? Are you talking
still
about?
have it.
Cock
Yeah.
in your butt.
Cock in your butt.
There was some weird, goofy story about someone who used, caulk,
Caulking.
ceiling caulk.
CAULK.
Yes, and I ended the story by just going, cock in your butt, and then I kept going while Jack and Chris Whitney were basically falling all over themselves, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And then about 20 seconds later, is like, "Okay, I know what you meant."
I still have full audio of this if you guys ever want it.
It was great.
Yeah,
It was great.
yeah, I would love Jack. I'd love the full thing. We have just the drop. Chris sent it to us one time.
Yeah.
I was also the one who sent Kevin and Michael the thinking hardly about
whacking.
Yes.
That was a story, a sportscast about shortening the NFL preseason. And
Yes.
thinking
Yes, it
hardly
was.
about whacking off.
Whacking off 2 games from the schedule,
I
and
sent
then
it to those guys, and they played it nonstop.
Oh, Ben has one too. Yeah, I remember John and I were in an argument one time, and I go, "Oh, come on," and John goes, "Oh, don't come on me." I forgot about that. That was hilarious.
I still have that one.
yeah, we got that
Oh,
one.
don't you come on me.
Don't you come on me.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've turned a lot of mine into drops, and some of them were accidental and others weren't.
Thanks, Greg.
I liked the question earlier from Mike where he goes, "Jack, are you ever going to do any podcasts again?"
Oh yeah, so I am.
What? Really?
Yeah, so I'm working with well, the thing is, okay, it's gonna sound whiny, especially right now, but doing that takes up a lot of time and a lot of arrangement, and I was basically paying to do them essentially, and so I'm maybe working with NRG to have them partner with me on them. And so I'll produce them through, and they'll be kind of an NRG property that I'm a part of. And we were about to kick that off, and then coronavirus hit, and so that's sort of on hold at the time. But yeah, I'm going to get going with podcasts again, and I'm hoping maybe more people on this page will have some eventually through NRG.
Stibbs.
Yeah.
Gladly.
Yeah, Stibbs doesn't do enough podcasting, do you?
Stibbs podcast without you guys would be huge. People would be really interested in that.
Yeah, except they'd make me do a video one.
No, you just have your own. Whatever you want to do.
No,
I'm
our
gonna start
building
that.
would make me do a video. I guarantee it.
I'm going to do a home
I'm
improvement one.
gonna be the boss of this thing. So I'm gonna be.
Oh, well, I'll do one. Yeah. Okay. Then yeah.
Okay, well then I'll do a home improvement one called "Cock in Your Butt."
Check out my 2015. Oh, this is sad.
Oh God, that's a bad year.
Mike Riley's first year. Oh no. Oh no. Remember that one? Oh no. Oh no.
God, none of those are good.
That Illinois game.
That Illinois game was garbage. Hey,
That was a fourth
They
down,
won
right?
the Purdue game.
no, that was the Purdue game they lost, John,
No,
when
they got
DPE's
killed.
knee exploded.
They got killed at Purdue.
Yeah, that was the one.
Greg
When,
remembers.
what's his name threw 5
Oh, that's right.
interceptions.
I'm thinking the next year. They all blend together.
Yeah.
That was the night. So it was weird because they lost that Purdue game. It was Halloween
Yep.
during the morning, and then the Royals played in the World Series that night, and that was the night that what's his name, the second baseman, made the terrible error for the Mets, and the Royals won and went up 3-0, or 3-1 at
3-1.
And it was like I was like, Nebraska had like their worst loss maybe in my life, and it was still a great day, which was weird.
Josh, was that a you and Damon special?
No, I was down in Dallas. I went to the Cowboys Seahawks game that weekend, so I was gone.
Okay, all right. I can't remember. I remember listening to Overreaction, and I can't remember. I thought that was like a you and Damon.
Is this the Alabama guy?
No, that's Joe and
Joe
Phoenix.
and Phoenix.
Oh, that's Joe and Phoenix, actually. Okay. Wow.
You couldn't tell by his demonic picture.
There's his last name.
Joe, you can send it to me this week, man. Send it on Friday. I'll eat
take
pizza
one
on
too,
Friday.
Joe.
Yeah, send it on Friday.
All right.
There you go. We're eating pizza.
All right, good. So, like today, I mean, now it's pretty clear. April, the entire month of April is a shutdown.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yep.
Probably.
if there was any, I think we all thought it before, but the president pretty much made it clear that he's even on board now, saying, April 30th is when we're going. I mean, so April.
Well, he gets such great ratings for these press conferences he's doing, so he just wants to keep doing them.
That tweet was unreal.
Tweet thread.
It was the first thing I saw when I opened Twitter today, and I didn't open Twitter again.
Good morning.
I just saw the one, and it was like, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Immediately put the phone back down.
I didn't want to get mad right away.
So I mean, this is basically this is one single month. I mean, this is a month of grinding. That's all it's going to be right now. A full freaking month.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny though, because I mean, and I don't know about you guys. I wasn't expecting anything dramatic to happen in April as far as loosening any restrictions or all of a sudden people going out and
I wasn't either. But yeah, no, go ahead.
I mean, it is one thing when you hear it. It's a little different, but I guess I wasn't that surprised. That said, I mean, I had to go out Saturday and we had to replace some grates on the grill. And I tried to time, my going out like closer to dinner time. I figured not as many people would be doing that kind of stuff. And, the Menards I'm not busy, but it had people. Home Depot was the same way. I ended up going to 4 different places because no one had the right grates that I needed. But, it was busier than I thought it would be, but it certainly wasn't a typical Saturday by any means. So I think a lot of people are heating well around here.
Yeah, it's good. That's the thing. They kept talking about how they were going to break it down into parts of the country, but they basically said now, everybody, we're doing what we're doing now, or maybe more restrictive for an entire month. That's what's coming. So if there was any illusions of that not happening, those got destroyed tonight, which I think is pretty significant.
Yeah, well, sorry, John, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm wondering at what point, like, I don't know, man. I wasn't expecting anything like in April. I agree with John, and I truly don't know when things resume again and how that looks like. Like we talked a little bit on the show last week about do they, like today they announced the NBA. There's like these rumors that they want to put all the players basically in like this one area and quarantine them so they can play the games. And like that sounds weird and goofy, but on the other hand, I kind of understand the thought process because if you just have everyone together and no one can get sick, then theoretically things are fine. But if the games start up and then like one player gets sick, do they have to shut down everything again? And I think that's the concern, right? It's, them doing everything and then somebody gets sick and then they have to shut it down again and people lose their minds. So I don't know.
Then that's several months away, but I don't know. I think we're just going to have to ride this one out for a month and see what happens. I'll be curious though, like today was a really nice day, and I was outside in the backyard and then I went for a walk, and
I went for a walk today too.
There were a lot of people out. A lot of people out. I mean, the trails we have a trails network here close by, and the trails were incredibly busy.
See, that's what sucks is everyone's doing that. So it's kind of defeating the purpose. I went to Memorial Park and turned around because there were too many people there.
Yeah, I don't take the trail, so I wasn't in any trouble. I just stayed on the sidewalks and walked around. But yeah, there were a lot of people out, and I don't blame them. We're gonna have some nice looking yards here in another month or so, because we're gonna be sitting there, taking care of the yards and doing all that kind of stuff. But when the weather, if we get like 3, 4, 5 days, or that one weekend where it's nice the whole weekend, that's when I'll be curious to see, how people continue to heed with the social distancing, because like this last week, I mean, we had maybe one decent afternoon, and then it rained or it was cloudy.
Yeah, it was cloudy every day.
And then Friday was crap again, and then Saturday was bleh. And then today. But if we get like 3 or 4 really nice days like today in a row, I'll be curious to see how people react to that.
Yeah, but
if they happen over the weekend.
It's crazy. Like I'm just looking at my window. There are more people walking outside. You drive by the park. There are way more people ever at the park. The dog run. They're packed. Like I've never seen so many people outside in my life.
The neighbor kids here, they've played outside before. I mean, any opportunity they get, they are outside on their little big wheels or their trikes or their bicycles, and it's like, kids are like learning how to play outside again. It was like, wow. My neighborhood usually is very quiet when it comes to that, but any nice day we've had the last 2 weeks, the kids have been outside, doing stuff. So
I
guess that's one good thing.
Let me ask you guys, like, what do you do if we're,
You talking about on the show?
Yeah. I mean, you guys are in the sports radio world. What do you do if there's 6 weeks of nothing?
I don't know. Like, I don't know, John, how you have felt, because obviously we haven't had a chance to talk too much after the show finishes up. But Sibs and I were chatting on Friday, and sometimes it's like the show finishes, and I look at him, and it's like, all right, so what did we talk about today? Because there's not the obvious, like, you just get so used to the rhythm of talk about this in March, talk about this in April, talk about this in May. And we don't even have like the easy spring ball, like, hey, there's a quarterback discussion today. Like, we don't have any of that right now. And so I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I hate the adages of coaches like, hey, let's go day to day. But I mean, that's really kind of how I'm at right now. It's just like,
that's exactly what
can we talk about tomorrow? And then let's figure out Tuesday after tomorrow. That's really what
I find myself after every show, going, well, we made it through another one. And then I go back and, because I do my prep sheets, and stuff that we didn't get to, I carried over to the next day. And there were actually some things that I carried over a couple of 3 times.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, even though we've had less to talk about, we've still managed to carry over a lot of stuff that I thought we were going to need to get to. Now, I'll be curious, because the NFL kind of bailed us out this last week and a half. We've had a few other things pop up, baseball, but I'm going day by day. And so
luckily they have a very funny and entertaining producer. That
no, but seriously, the NFL free agency stuff for the last week, I don't know how much you got. Like I said, I haven't been able to listen as much as I usually can, but listen, usually I'm a really good listener.
Sad.
But like, there's not going to be news like that for a while.
Well, luckily this month we're going to have the draft. So, and it's not like John and
we
I are
didn't
big
fall
draft
back
guys.
on that a whole lot either.
No,
I mean,
we really
we
didn't.
spent a segment, but it's not like we heard about, I don't know. See, I can't even think of anything. Melvin Gordon went to Denver, and we feel like let's stretch this into 3 segments. This will be perfect.
Did Melvin Gordon go to Denver?
Damn right.
Yes.
I didn't know. See, I'm not paying attention to any of this stuff. I'm not.
No, I mean, the good thing is
Tom Brady went to Tampa.
Didn't hear that.
The good thing is we've all been working, like us three have been doing the show together for almost 6 years. And so, I mean, a lot of our segments have just turned into like movies and TV and stuff. Like, I imagine we're going to talk about Tiger King a lot tomorrow.
So,
probably.
I hope so.
How much do you how much do you think about talking about just, not necessarily the exact same stuff that I'm talking about, but like for me, doing my show now, 2 shows, it's 100% about this and the impacts on people's lives.
Yeah.
How much are you thinking about pivoting to that?
Well, we've talked. I don't know, John. How much COVID do you think? Yeah, we've talked a lot of COVID.
Well, we have. I mean, we've had. Gosh, I think this last week we probably had a discussion every day about whether or not there would be a football season, or how football season would look if it were affected. So, I mean, we've had that conversation. I don't, outside of having the doctor on, was it 2 Fridays ago?
Yeah.
We haven't got like deep in the weeds like you have, Jack, about, this many people are sick and this and that. But, obviously we've discussed the effect of COVID on the NBA, on baseball, on football. And so, I anticipate that we'll probably, it really depends on, what happens each and every day. The thing is about this, even though, the numbers update all the time, it's not like we get a lot of new news, right? I mean, we're in this holding pattern of just seeing how many people get sick and, governors saying they need more ventilators and the White House saying they don't need them and all this, the usual back and forth crap. But it's not like we get like earth shattering something different news wise every day. It seems like every day kind of blends into the next. And so we haven't really gotten into the whole, the politics of it because, well,
stick.
Exactly.
But there's no sports to stick to anymore.
That's right.
Here's what I think, and I've said this to my coworkers and my boss. And I know what you were saying, John, but we are still in a time right now where there's more breaking news by the day than there is going to be in the next month. It's gonna feel like a grind in the next month because there's gonna be less breaking news per day, I think.
Right, but I think we find that the more what maybe this last week or 2 weeks ago we called breaking news will start to seem like routine, if that makes sense. And so, obviously when everyone canceled games, that was all a big deal. But once the 17th conference shut things down, it wasn't a breaking story anymore. So, hey, look at that. Stibbs looks a lot better now.
So, let me ask you guys this, and I know you don't have the correct answer, but as much as you know right now, what is your best guess on when there's any sports again for you guys to talk?
Like if I had to wager on it, I would bet on 2021. I would legitimately bet on next year. Yeah, I would. I'm worried. John knows that I'm worried, and we've talked about it a couple times last week. I'm worried that the country is going to make a mistake on trying to reopen too soon, and that's going to result in more people getting sick and more people dying. Like you see the stuff out of Florida, and like the way that they're handling it, and it seems like the South is about to explode in a horrific way. And so I would bet on the next sport being played like next baseball season if I had to bet on it. But wow. I hope I'm wrong. Obviously,
I first of all, I would not be stunned if in June auto racing was back up and running.
Yeah, my bad. I was thinking more team sports, but yes, golf.
Well, even with team sports, I I think we're going to have something, if not in June, in July. But there's not going to be any fans. It's going to be empty stadiums. We're going to get a lot of. If you're asking me when we're going to have 80,000 people in Memorial Stadium again, I
2021 for sure.
I have no idea. I would lean more than towards that than, but I do think that we're going to have. I think we'll have sports again sometime in June, and I think it's some of those sports like golf, like NASCAR, that obviously can social distance because they're played out over such giant acreages, and you don't necessarily need to have fans. But the problem with some of the team sports, especially like football, where it's always close quarters and you're sharing the same ball, and there's a lot of physical contact.
Think of the sidelines, even like think of a football sideline.
Sure. Sure. I just, I hesitate to say, that everything's just going to be off because we have no idea what the summer's going to bring. And I think some of the places, if I'm in New York right now, I'm probably thinking a lot like Josh, because New York feels, I'm sure, like just ground zero, pardon the pun. But, out here in the Midwest, where we have, a scant few cases and there's so much open space, it seems a lot more logical that we're going to have stuff return. But obviously the NFL can't play if New York can't play. The NBA can't play. Well, actually the NBA can play if New York can't play because New York hasn't played for years, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you guys envision a period, whenever it is, whether it's this summer with baseball and the NBA, or later with football, or even into next year, some level of team, and I'm talking about the major team sport, NBA, MLB, college football, college basketball, some kind of beginning where there's just games without any fans?
Well, I think that's how it will start. Mm-hmm. I think if baseball comes back, it's going to be in an empty stadium. If the NBA comes back, it's going to be in an empty arena or a small arena. I mean, just like, and I know it happened over 36 hours, but just like we had this ramping up, first it was, we're not going to play in front of fans, and then we're not going to play at all. I think it's going to be the same in reverse, but it's going to be a lot slower and more deliberate.
Yep.
Like sticking your toe in the water and saying, all right, let's see how we can go here the first few weeks, with no fans. And then maybe we allow, 1,000 people in. And then
I wonder if they put them in certain sections. Like they say you can have 10 people in 104, you can have 10 people in 105, and they really, truly, separate everybody even at every
In other words, it looks like a Rays game.
But the thing is, Italy's already going down.
Ben already made that joke.
Italy's already going. Yeah, I know. I saw that. Italy's already going down now in weekly. I mean, there's a part of me, and I hope I'm being not overly optimistic, but I'm thinking, how could it still be like this in the fall?
See, that's the thing. Right now, we're all kind of trapped in. I know it feels like it's been 3 months, but it's only been 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of trapped in the moment. I guarantee you things are going to feel different 2 weeks from now. And then they'll feel a little more different 2 weeks after that. And, by, let's say, end of April, it could feel even more different then. And so what we're hoping for, is that curve starting to trend downward. But as a lot of us know, a lot of the news and a lot of the influence comes from New York, and that is also the hardest hit city. It's just like, Jack, we always used to make fun of it every time, they'd get a snowstorm in New York, the TV news networks would treat it like it was Armageddon, and, the rest of the country is just fine. And I'm not saying that it's not serious in New York. It obviously is, but New York has such a great influence on the general mood of the country that I think we really have to monitor those bigger cities to see, when they start feeling that they're starting to get a better handle on this.
Yeah, I mean, New York's gonna go through its process in the next 2 weeks, and and that'll be over. But then,
see, I'm worried about the South. I'm worried about Florida and Louisiana,
Miami. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, Texas. I mean, there's all kinds of them, and you're right. It's just,
I mean, like Mississippi, their governor is trying to reverse all this stuff, and like John's not wrong about New York and how that's the epicenter, and I mean, so many journalists live there, and so it's getting talked about a lot, and obviously things are overrun right now. But you look at what's happening in the South, and I mean, it's like if we want SEC football, they got to get their crap together, and right now it doesn't seem like they are.
So I've heard. I mean, Josh, you're not the only person who I've heard say I'd be shocked if they play anything in 2020 again, at least in terms of some of the team sports that we all care about. I don't give a shit about NASCAR, but anyway,
Nobody does.
No, John does.
Like I said.
Anyway, that said,
you'll care about NASCAR if it's the only thing that's back.
No. I'd rather watch them play video games.
Maybe.
Hey, that was a good race today. Don't knock it.
Oh, did I win?
No, Josh and I got our guy right.
Yeah.
Team Timmy Hill. But Josh only got two guys right, two predictions right all weekend.
What?
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you had a bad week.
What I mean, like, what does if you're right, Josh, and it's whatever, I don't know, spring 2021, so maybe, I mean, I have no idea what this looks like. Baseball starting then, or they're doing a short basketball season or something. I mean, like, can you guys even imagine?
No, I literally can, and
I can't even. I can't even imagine the impact. Of course, you guys are thinking about your jobs and so many other things, but it's crazy.
I'm still having a hard time imagining the College World Series not happening, let alone anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
it hasn't even come to fruition in my mind yet. It's weird.
Missing March Madness.
That's like a trademark or like a benchmark in our year, especially at our building.
Yes.
It's going to be so weird to just go through June and have nothing change.
Yeah, believe it or not, as good as Creighton was this year, and as much as I was looking forward to March Madness, Stibbs is right. I mean that CWS is such a big deal in our building, and it like swallows. I mean, it does. It swallows everything up, and we'll get to the beginning of June, and there'll be nothing going on, and it's going to feel that's going to hit more. I think that's going to hit as hard as anything has.
Well, I would say
easily for me.
The day that all the news broke, like, I don't know, maybe it was just because I was expecting March Madness to be canceled. I mean, it sucked and it hurt, but it wasn't like the end of the world. Look, all kidding aside about the College World Series, and we've joked about it for years, like, that news, like, legitimately took the breath out of me. Like, I was reading the statement on the air live. I hadn't pre-read it, and so I'm reading it, and when it said in spring championship sports or whatever the vernacular was, like, we all stopped. And I like asked John, like, John, that means the College World Series, right? And we all like realized, like, holy shit, the College World Series is canceled. And then you read through the rest.
Just saw infinite rounds of golf flash before his eyes that he won't be able to play those 2 weeks.
No, but I mean that's
a real shame.
I agree with Stibbs. Like that, when June arrives, I mean, here's the thing: we're not going to have any sports anyway. Like, so it's like I don't even know what June will feel like, but that will be when it's June 18th or whatever, and we're just like still going into the office. Like I don't know. Yeah, right. I got my stuff over here by me if I need to work from home.
When will not having sports not feel weird? Like how long before we get kind of used to it?
Strange but true.
I
kind of am.
Yeah, I'm already getting there.
It's weird.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of have.
Yeah,
and a lot of it's been because the weather hasn't been. Like I said, if we get, a solid 3-4 days or a week where we get really nice weather like today, that'll be a little harder to take because, I'll be used to go outside, mow the lawn, come in, turn on baseball, nothing there. But right now I've kind of gotten used to it, but yeah, it's, the longer it goes, it's,
we adapt.
We do adapt, but we're just now really getting into, baseball would have started this week. NBA playoffs would have started within the next month. NHL playoffs would have started within a month. And of course, college baseball. But I don't know. I guess these last 2 weeks, it's kind of felt like one long snowstorm where we're all snowed in. And at some point, it's not going to feel like that anymore. And then that's probably when it's going to hit me that there's nothing going on. And I'm not looking forward to that day, but I know it's coming.
I care so little about the sports that are usually happening right now anyway, that I don't think it'll really hit me unless something gets affected in fall.
I thought you were
obviously the lack of the college rule.
Big Mariners guy, I thought.
Well, I mean, besides that,
what about the Stanley Cup playoffs, though, Stibbs?
That'll be weird. That will be weird. But
I don't know if you heard, they're the best postseason possible. I'm not sure if you've heard. There's no better moment than a Game 7.
They are.
But
you know what?
Jack.
The only reason I watch those, I put those on while I'm doing prep for the College World Series.
Yeah.
Jack,
so now I won't have that, and I won't have
Brady's Bowl and not being excited about Game 7 of a freaking Stanley Cup. Idiot.
Here's the thing for me. Like for me, and this is just a lot of my life revolves around because I got a son who's an athlete playing basketball and baseball, and still that to me is the hardest. That hits me more directly personally than any of the existence of baseball or NBA or anything right now. And just thinking, man, there's going to be a generation of kids who just he could lose a year of sports. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's crazy.
That's what I mean. Like, there's not like a week. Like, come the Stanley Cup playoffs, it'll be weird. But as far as a full season of almost every other day, I'm watching football when it's in season. So there's no other season like that where my week is structured around where I'm watching this game, when I'm watching this game, how it's going to happen until fall. So my daily regimen in the evenings or whatever else hasn't really changed a ton in the sports world as of right now. And it won't really until the College World Series, just not even from a watching sports standpoint, just from a work standpoint. But I don't think it might be shortly after that when we start talking about training camp and things like that. That's when I really start to get excited about the seasons. And when if things start to get pushed back or things start to get talked about, then that's when I'll really start to notice and really feel the shit. Where the hell are the sports?
We all agree, if there's a point where whenever they say, like, I think there's, if the NBA doesn't finish out, whatever, NBA's stupid. But if they get to the point where they're like, football's not happening, like, that's going to be a different level of this, right?
Yeah, and I keep thinking of like the stuff that Greg is asking about. Like, if that happens, what does it mean for athletic departments? And that's the thing that, like, we're all talking about it from the selfish perspective of just being fans, which is fine. But I wonder what it would mean for the future of the sports, not even just football, but I mean, that gravy train goes so far down, and if there's no millions of dollars, $50 million for Nebraska, $50 million for Purdue, but even down to $10 million for Group of 5 schools, like, that's going to destroy athletic departments. It's going to destroy.
Well, what you'll have obviously football programs aren't going to go away, but you're going to start to see more wrestling programs disappear. Yep. More men's gymnastics programs, tennis. You're going to see a lot of male sport. Yeah. But a lot of male sports, disproportionately more male sports will disappear from college athletic programs. If we miss an entire football season, especially at some of those smaller schools, because I mean, it's been kind of stable. We went through a period there in probably the 80s and the 90s where a lot of wrestling programs went by the wayside and college baseball programs went by the wayside. But, a lot of that was anticipating, Title IX and the boogeyman of Title IX. But we've been in a pretty stable period right now as far as not losing a lot of sports. But unfortunately, if we lose out on a college football season, we're probably going to go through another phase like we did in the 80s and the 90s, where a lot of those mostly men's lower tier Olympic sports are going to start to disappear. And depending on how hard each department is hit, you may even see some women's sports disappear. but it'll be the men's sports first.
Yep, I agree.
It sucks.
Shitty.
It's bad. It's really bad.
All right, here's something to make you laugh. David says that John looks like the strip club owner from Tiger King.
Which one was the strip club owner?
I haven't even watched it.
Who was the strip club owner?
That joke was for me, apparently.
The strip club owner was. Let me find a picture of him.
I don't remember the strip club owner. They were only in the strip club towards the end.
Oh, was that the guy that rode the
The jet ski? The informant. That's who he's talking about.
That jet ski, like,
amazing.
That scene is unreal.
So funny.
It's so good. I need it.
And
so
they were
bad.
playing Eye of the Tiger too, which was just weird.
Oh my god, he takes those sunglasses. That's the best scene of the entire.
I don't know about you, but the fact that Carol never got anything pisses me off.
Yeah, me too.
She is a bad person. They're all bad people, but she's bad too.
Did you see Stibbs? Did you see Netflix tweeted that out earlier today? It was like, hey, all you crazy, what did she say?
Cats and kittens.
Cats and kittens. We need that as a drop.
Hey, all you crazy cats and kittens.
Oh man, yeah, it destroyed me when she's like talking about how bad everyone is, and then it's like, yeah, so I'm saving these tigers, and it's like in these garbage pages, and it's like they have to put their head through to drink water. Like, wait, what? You're a horrible, miserable human being.
Okay,
too.
here's the thing I don't understand about her is she's the one that's supposedly saving them, but yet she's running a park just like Joe's, where
like Joe's.
they're in worse conditions than the ones in Joe's zoo, and they're just sitting there.
Her
so it's
argument
like,
is that she's not
you're not
breeding
really
them
saving anything, you dumb bitch.
She's not breeding them, and she's not doing the whole cub like petting thing, which is
so because they don't get pet, then everything's okay.
Yeah,
that's
whatever.
Also, I love how disinterested Jack looks right now.
No, I haven't watched any of this. I don't have. I have very important things to do, so I haven't been able to watch any of your Tiger show.
Well, basically, the lead guy in this, the Joe Exotic. If Joe Exotic ran for president, he would be Trump.
Okay.
But he did run for president.
But he did.
And he's going to again, it sounds like.
The dude who's like, look,
he's in jail. What are you talking about? He's not running for president. He's in jail.
Can I say, okay, here we go. I don't have any place where I can do this, so I'm going to do it here.
Okay.
But did you see Marco Rubio's tweet today?
Yes.
No.
Oh, no.
I almost punched a hole in the wall.
What did he do?
Now I gotta look it up.
He said that the media is basically happy about people dying.
He said,
if you boil it down to like 2 words, that's what it is. He thinks we're happy.
He said
so, Jack, are you?
Like, I can't freaking. Do you guys know? I want someone. I wish I had a documentary film crew with me the last 2 weeks, and to take the phone calls that I'm getting in between segments. And
I don't know if you want a documentary film crew, because then you'll get all the tigers that are around you, and then you'll end up in jail just like Joe did.
And you know, there's all of these people that want to critique the media, and they do it in these broad swaths, basically. And I would love to know the reason, though, the impact of what that is.
You know the reason, though, Jack, because unfortunately you get lumped in with cable news. And yes, there is a great deal of drama on cable news, because cable news pivoted from being news to hot take a long time ago. Unfortunately, and here I'll blow some smoke up your rear end, but you don't get those types of takes listening to you. But because cable news has become hot take central, they become the media. And so everyone, when they talk about fake news and all this other crap, they're talking about those 3 stupid networks and, 90% of their product, which is talk, and not a lot of information. So, that's where a lot of that stupidity is coming from.
I got people all the time. They're like, "Oh, we're not talking about you," but I mean, the impact.
But you are. Yeah, like,
But they
even
are.
if you're not, you are. If you
They
Impact-
say
that,
they aren't, but they are.
They are, and the impact it has when you just say general. If you think somebody's happy, tell me who it is, Rubio. I mean, like, say who's happy. But to
his
throw it out
tweet
there,
said, "Some in our media can't contain their glee and delight in reporting that the U.S. has
Ooh,
more
call
coronavirus
out
cases
names.
than China."
Call out names then, if that's what you really think.
Well, basically what it's doing, it's turning into the whole, like, it's the Clay Travis garbage where it's destroying me that he's calling people coronavirus bros, because he was wrong at the outset. And so now anytime that somebody's like, no, hey, dude, just admit that you were wrong. He's like, oh, so you're taking glee in this. It's like, no, nobody's taking glee in it. It's just, we're trying to make sure that more people don't die. Like, that's all that this is coming down to, you know?
Yeah, you have a platform. Quit being an idiot.
That's really what it is. And that's why, we've talked about it maybe more than I would have expected to at the beginning, but I'm just trying to do my best to not have people die. Like, that's literally what this thing comes down to. It's not gleeful. Like, I would love, like you just said, Jack, to have like a documentary crew following you. The amount of depression that I have felt over the last 3 weeks over something that to this point hasn't directly affected me. I still have a job, and I don't know anybody directly that has caught the virus. But I think people would be stunned at how miserable I am most nights. And I've had to, like, basically just, like, get away from it. And I have kind of essentially locked myself into, I read about it for a chunk in the morning, and then I read about it in the chunk for the evening, and then I stay away because it just, I've just been in too much of a funk over the last few weeks. I really have been.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's scary, and it infuriates me too, because
I've never seen Stibbs this mad about something that's not the Chiefs. Seriously,
you're right, and it's not just because it's not a one side or the other, or this party and that party. I'm lucky it hasn't directly affected me yet, but it could, and it maybe more easily could for me, because my sister lives in New York.
Yeah,
and my grandma doesn't believe this stuff because she listens to what certain news channels and what our leader had to say for the last, handful of weeks. She's going to get her hair done. She's trying to go out and eat. She was going out to eat and going to movies until they closed them down because she thought it was a hoax. And that's because she gets that information from someone. She believes it, and it infuriates me. So yeah, I get mad when that's talked about, and when we get told we're on one side or the other or this or that. It's like, no, you're putting the people I love in danger, and it's terrifying.
Being in New York there right before everything really blew up, some people thought that the streets were a little less populated. I thought they were just as populated as they always were. And there was that concert that was taking place in the Garden the night before the tournament started. And I was walking to dinner, and the hordes of people getting off the train or getting out of cabs or walking down the sidewalk to go into the Garden, it was like nothing was going on. And we're talking like 24 hours before the world went crazy. So I mean, the attitude in that city was business as usual as far as I could tell. And I'm guessing it's a lot different right now, but there were a lot of people who were like, this isn't a big deal. This isn't that big a deal. And then, one NBA player gets infected, and then whoop, everything turns. So it happened quick.
I mean,
it happened very quick, even in New York.
And her husband were both still taking trains every day up while you were there.
Oh, man.
Until shortly after that.
I'm glad
Luckily,
I stayed off the trains that week.
Or where they can now work from home. But my sister has asthma, too. Like, she has an inhaler that one of those would last her, I don't know, maybe a month or two. She's flying through them because she was sick a week or two ago, and was scared, and she's having trouble breathing, but she can't do anything about it. She can't go to hospital because there's no hospital beds available. Like, it's terrifying. And that could really hurt someone with asthma. Well,
and the scary thing is,
and they've also had one confirmed. They've now have a case confirmed in their building too, which is
I was going to say, because she's probably in a building with how many hundreds of other people?
Thousands. They live in a huge
thousands of people, and they all are interconnected through the same ventilation system, right? And so, the most densely populated part of Omaha would be one of the least densely populated portions of Manhattan. And thus the reason why the cases have exploded, and now you're going to start to see some of those hot spots in other big cities where they have, denser populations. But yeah, I really feel for people like your sister and others who you know, they live in the city and they share a building with literally hundreds, if not thousands, of other people.
So I just want to put one plea out here right now. If you don't like, that's fine. If you don't like cable news and you think, which I probably disagree with you on some of it, but if you don't like national cable news, and that's your big critique, and you're pissed about that, when you go out and publicly make critiques of them,
Call it that.
Yeah.
Be specific.
Be specific and quit saying, and this goes to, quit trying to perpetuate the idea that the media, most of the media that people consume is local media, that they have some malintent, that they're biased, that they're are cheering for the virus. It's garbage. It's freaking. It's so
It is.
shitty.
I'm terrified of it. Not for me, but for my family. Like I said, I'm not rooting for this thing at all. It could kill my family members. I don't want that.
Do you think? Because I'm telling you, you may not believe me, but man, does it trickle down. And even if people aren't, they say it's the general media. Oh, I'm just mad at MSNBC. I'm telling you, every day that trickles down to me and people telling me that I'm fake news.
Well, and unfortunately, those are uneducated people. Those are uneducated people. And what I hope comes out of this, Jack, and that's why what you're doing and what our local media is doing, the newspapers, the TV stations, what I hope this does, because I think for a while there, as a country, we were kind of getting away from some of those sources, right? And
you talking about misinformation?
Yeah, well, just getting away from them in that, I think a lot of us were absorbing our news either through what the cable people were, the talkie folks were saying, or what the comedians were saying. And what I hope comes out of this is a greater appreciation for local media, because obviously I listen to Jack every morning. We usually have 8 or 10 on at night. I obviously look at the Journal-Star and I look at Omaha.com. And what I hope comes out of this is a greater appreciation for local media, because I haven't seen any of the sensationalism, the so-called sensationalism. It's been a lot of factual stuff, a lot of helpful information, and then a lot of, hey, here's people doing good things type stuff, the stuff that local media has been doing for a long time. So I hope that if there's one thing I hope comes out of this, beyond, just being better prepared for a pandemic, is a greater appreciation for the local news, because I think local news has stepped up in a big way these last couple of weeks. And I'm very proud of the people who have done that. And it hasn't been this nonstop, whether you believe one side or the other, left or right, doesn't matter. It's just fact. Here's facts. Here's what's happening. Facts, 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 facts. Here's something good that's happened. End of broadcast. And I hope people are appreciating that, because I've been very proud of what I've seen and I've heard so far.
Yeah, and that's why our show, I think, is interesting, because I feel like every day we're kind of, walking a tightrope, because on one hand, I really do want to entertain and I want to make sure that people, maybe have fun for a couple hours. On the other hand, I don't know if I'm as passionate as you are, Jack, just because I'm not dealing with the type of garbage you are on a daily basis. But on the other hand, there are times where I just want to turn on my microphone and yell and tell people to stop being morons. And so, I don't know. I think we've done a good job at doing both of those things, at being fun, but also giving information. But yeah, I agree with John. I think the local folks have done awesome lately. I really do.
And the biggest thing I want to tell people is that it's very chic right now to go out and make blanket critiques of media. Blanket critiques of media. And that's thanks to Trump. And but when you do that, it impacts the ability.
Look at the puppy. Sorry.
John is easily distracted, Jack.
I didn't mean to distract Jack. I'm sorry.
It impacts the ability of local media to get a message out, and I've seen it firsthand. And it impacts it.
But Jack, that wasn't my computer. Jack, unfortunately,
sorry.
The station you're working for, and what populates that station for several hours a day, and so it lends itself to a certain mindset in the general listenership. Trust me, I've dealt with it forever. So I think that's where a lot of it's coming from, and it's unfortunate, but go ahead.
I'm putting up you haven't heard or read a single person complaining about local media. Man, hang out with me for a freaking week. Oh my God. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Hang out with me. Take my phone calls and my emails. Like,
I have to take all of them on our show. It's horrible.
It's not. You're
We're
wrong.
a sports show.
This is that right there is.
Again, but that's based on his own. I'm sure it's based on whatever he's seeing on his social media and on his Facebook.
That's great, but if people don't think that when you widecast it like that, even if I don't agree that it doesn't trickle down to the way that we can't get information out.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're exactly right. And that's the unfortunate thing, because unfortunately, there's not a lot of nuance in the criticism. The criticism is a giant blanket thrown over everything, and there's no nuance in it whatsoever.
See, I agree with Jim when he says that fake news is really turned to anyone that is in the position of power or intelligence that says something people doesn't like. And that's true. People just say it. It's such a blanket term that people use. And it's if I disagree with you, that's fake news, where, it's not, of course.
Right. No, I mean, there was some guy I talked to. There was this clip that went out where I was, got into it with this guy where he basically said, well, you said something negative about Trump one time, which I didn't actually say. But, I mean, what are we doing? Like, what's our definition of what is real news and fake news anymore? And it's just,
Plus, I would go even farther into that initial argument that have they gotten things wrong? Probably. Many will, but I also don't think that the New York Times and the Washington Post necessarily need to get much of your anger either.
No, I think they've done a good job.
I think they're trying to help. I mean, but
let's face it,
they've been polarized by certain people.
Exactly, but unfortunately, and I'm not saying the New York Times is bad or the Washington Post is bad, but unfortunately, at times they get caught up in the same beltway, big city mess that CNN and MSNBC and Fox all get caught up in, because that's their beat. That's what they cover. That's what they know people are going to read. And so a lot of the real good nuanced reporting that are done by the Times or by the Post or by, some of these other national sites gets lost in the nonstop take that, that becomes what people think of as news, and you don't see, the real informative stuff. Unfortunately, people don't like to filter very much anymore. And so everything just gets thrown under a giant blanket that says, this is this media outlet, and they always think this way. So everything they say is going to be, categorized thusly. And it's unfortunate. And part of that's the media's fault. Part of that is CNN's fault. It's MSNBC's fault. It's Fox's fault. But at the end of the day, we as consumers have to be smart enough to realize when we're being talked to and when we're being told a story. And sometimes we don't do a very good job of that as consumers of news.
I mean, a lot of it does come down to being able to see through the bullshit.
Yes.
Well, I think, too, there's just a lack of understanding of, I'll make a sports comparison. There are people that get really mad at, Dirk, and a lot of that stuff is, just horribly dumb. But they're like, hey, just report the facts. And it's like, that's not what he does. He is a columnist. Tom Chattel is a columnist. I am an opinion person that is there to entertain, and hopefully I do so on a somewhat regular basis. Like, my job isn't to hop on the air and say, hey, Nebraska lost this weekend. Here are the facts about the game. Time to move on. Like, that's literally not my job. And I think that there are people that don't understand the difference between a CNN opinion show, or like what Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes does on MSNBC, or what Hannity does on Fox News, and then I don't know, they read an article that has actual stats, and it's just like, here's the story of what unfolded in the Times or the Post, and then they try to accuse that of being partisan. It's like, if anything, I think that either those papers bend over the other way, trying to say, hey, look, we're going to meet you halfway, and we're going to, by having very weird headlines, or they'll never say he lied about this or he did something racist, and they'll kind of dance around and soften the edges a little bit. I think that happens all the time. Stick to sports.
I just want people to know. I just want people to know, if you're out there making general critiques of media because it's a talking point, it has real impact, and more impact than you realize.
Right. But
It really
to
does.
Josh's point, when he went with Dirk, how many people now look at the World Herald cross-eyed because they read something from Dirk that pissed them off?
Dude,
And now,
so many people do.
And now they think everything
Philip
that the
does,
World Herald
apparently.
covers, everything that Chris Heddy writes, everything that Evan Bland writes, everything that Sam writes, is now all lumped into the same category as that one time Dirk said something that made me mad. And unfortunately, Jack, that's the trap that you get caught into, because you're on the station that has Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Mark Levin. And so people get accustomed to wanting to hear a certain thing. And when they don't hear that certain thing, or they don't hear it pitched in a certain way through a certain lens, then they think that they're being had. And again, that falls on the consumer, not the host. The consumer's got to be smarter.
I'm happy nobody listens to The Zone and wants us to sound like the Odd Couple.
Oh, yeah!
Sorry, I just wanted
That's
to
how
make
they
one
start
joke.
their show every
That's
day.
how they start
I don't
it.
know if you guys knew that. It's good.
All right, well.
Jack just wanted to have some fun, and he wanted some laughs, and now he's as pissed as he'll be all morning long tomorrow.
No, I'm mainly pissed. I mean, that's my posture right now.
Yeah.
Pissed. And I enjoy being pissed.
Listen, I know you do, and I know you enjoy a good fight. I just long for the days. I long for the days where Democrat-leaning attorneys can get under your skin again, because those were better fights.
Oh my gosh, I fight with anyone. I'll fight with anyone. It's the left, it's the right, it's horrible sports takes. It's sometimes. I wish I long for the days where my fights were about less important things. But
we'll get there again. It'll happen someday.
I don't know.
Hopefully.
Probably not.
All right.
There's no sports until next year. We definitely won't get there.
Yeah. Again, maybe I'll finally get my spot on your show regularly.
You don't watch sports right now. We'd love to have you. Come on. We need another Monday regular. You got to be on our show on
I
Mondays.
don't watch old sports?
No, you don't pay attention to anything. But if you want to come on our show tomorrow, feel free. We need another guest.
Yeah, there's so much information. There's so much I'm not paying attention to.
Stibbs, what time should Jack be on tomorrow?
We could do 2:30. We could do 4:45. We could do 5:15.
What do you think, Jack?
I mean, I don't know.
He just begged to come on, and now we're giving him a weekly slot on Mondays, and he's going to turn us down.
You're moping. That's a very John move. You're moping.
Yeah, is that where he got it from?
So here's the deal. Like, we're doing a 5 to 6 show, but they put this presidential coronavirus task force thing that starts at 4 every day, but then they start at 4:45, and sometimes we carry it, and sometimes we don't, and so
should you be on at 2:30 then, or
3:30? Yeah, that'd be better.
All right,
if you want. I don't
the task force.
Whatever.
Better see what science man Mike Pence has to say.
Flash up Jim's question real quick there, Jack.
All right, hold on.
No, it's Kurt Dukes.
Oh God, no. No, you know who it is? It's Jerry Godowski in his sophomore and his junior seasons. Get that bum Steve Taylor out and put Jerry Godowski in.
He played significantly.
Who did?
Godowski did.
is senior year.
Shut
I'm
up,
saying
Fremont boy.
saying sophomore and junior year. They'd have won a national championship. They wouldn't have lost to Oklahoma.
I have no
FYI,
takes.
there's
Harrison Beck.
no. The answer is Bobby Newcomb, number 1, and number 2, Luke McCaffrey this year. Those are your 2 answers. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not.
Did Nebraska win a game that McCaffrey played in?
I mean, did Nebraska win a game that anyone played in?
I don't think he played against Maryland, did he?
No, I don't think he did. So yeah, your boy hasn't won a game yet. He hasn't even played in a game where they won.
Can you imagine like the Luke McCaffrey, Adrian Martinez excitement that would be going on right now? I mean, oh my gosh. I try not to think about this world, but geez.
John, can you imagine that, us getting to talk about spring ball every day?
Nope.
Crazy.
That is one good thing about this is we don't have to have too hot spring game talks.
Jack, since you
John
don't
would
listen
be
to the
mad
show,
if we had to talk about it.
John keeps like thanking the coronavirus for things. Like every day he's like, coronavirus, we bow down to you. Thank you for being in our lives.
The Rams side, Michael Brockers. Yay, coronavirus.
Yeah, it makes us very uncomfortable.
Joel says Luke McCaffrey. Hold on. I'll pull this up. There you go.
Did he?
Oh, he did play against Maryland? All right, so he went 1-4 in his games last year? Or 1-3?
I don't
on the McCaffrey family. I might have to fuck.
That's right. He did play. That's right.
In
Never mind.
an alternate world, you're covering Creighton losing before they get to the Sweet 16 tonight.
In a what?
In an alternate world, you're covering Creighton lose to like I don't know, like
Baylor
or someone before they get and they wouldn't get to the Sweet 16. This is much better.
Maybe.
It's not that crazy to think about. They did it quite often. The alternate universe isn't that far off this one.
You want a real alternate universe? How about Nebraska
go.
ball winning any games?
Oh, nailed me! Oh, they're bad? I hadn't heard. Oh, that's the thing. You can't talk.
What do you mean that's the thing? Your thing is again. You love to have it. You love to have it one way. It's always one way. It's always Jack can make fun of something, but don't come back at my crappy team because that's
come
not
on me.
fair.
What are you going to tell me? Like, what are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me they suck? Oh, really? That's my life. That is inside.
Exactly. So why do you keep talking?
I know better than you will ever know how bad they suck. It hurts my heart.
No, I've lived longer than you. I've seen them suck longer than you have.
Joe in Phoenix says, and let me remind you, his predictions are always spot on. I think Creighton would have lost their first game.
No, they wouldn't.
Oh, well, then we would have been in the Final Four for sure.
They were going to be a 2 seed. They would have won.
Yeah, but it wasn't Sweet 16 or bust as a 2 seed. Jack, what would be worse as a fan, being a basketball fan or being part of a fan base that would not be upset if they didn't make it to the third round of a tournament being a 2 seed? What's worse, Jack? Well, there's always next year.
Stibbs, you know better than that. The answer is always Nebraska ball fan. Always. What's worse, being a Bengals fan or a Nebraska ball fan? Nebraska ball fan.
Dang, you think so?
What's worse, being dropped in a pit of hot lava or a Nebraska ball fan? Nebraska ball fan. That's always the answer.
Because they have to watch 2 games a week, whereas Cincinnati only has to watch 1.
If we can't ever have any joy as a fan base, we are going to at least be impervious to trash talk, which is that's what it is. You can't tell me my team sucks. I know it deeper and more clearly than you do.
They're pretty bad.
It's
so terrible. Why do you keep doing it? Why do you set yourself up for it?
For what?
Why do you set yourself up for having people come back at you how bad your team is?
Why were you such a Rams fan for so long?
That's the thing.
Hey, the Rams were good for a while there when I was young.
They really weren't.
I'm glad you asked me that question because I have a point to make. One of the biggest misconceptions is about sports Twitter is that you can't make fun of other teams, colleges, whatever that suck if you also suck. You can always do that. You've never lost that privilege, and I will continue to do it. I don't care if Nebraska football never
Right, but then don't be surprised when others come back at you to remind you how bad your team sucks. That's how it works.
That's a bad take. We know.
That is not a bad take. If you can do it, if you can make fun of the bad, they can make fun of your team being bad. That's how it works.
Everyone knows.
It's not a one-way street.
The difference is Creighton.
We're not social distancing on Twitter.
The difference is it's not creative. Like, it's not fun.
Exactly. Most of Jack's stuff isn't creative.
I think Jack's pretty funny.
Oh,
that's the thing. No,
I knew I was gonna get to this at some point.
It's just a horrible comeback. It isn't fun. It'd be more fun if they went after a specific player or Hoiberg individual. Like, be creative about it. Just being like, yeah, well, your team's bad, so you can't be funny is stupid. Get off Twitter. That's what it's for.
It's a terrible take. Find a better thing to make fun of.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and it hasn't stopped me at all from making fun of that team.
You do come off like an idiot, though.
Fine. I work with you two, so it makes me look a lot smarter.
Hey-o.
Oh, God. See, you know what's gonna suck is
everything.
Jack's finally gonna get what he wants, and then the next coronavirus will hit, and it'll be all over after that.
They'll cancel the tournament that Nebraska was finally going to make.
Yeah, you know what, Jack? I will say this: at least you didn't just have. Yeah, if Nebraska ball had the season Creighton just did, and then the tournament got canceled, Jack would be distraught, and I don't know if we would ever get to see him again. So at least this happened to Creighton.
Absolutely. That'd be devastating.
I would have said that anyway, but yeah.
Hey, actually, if you think about it, this actually probably did Creighton a favor because they wouldn't have had Zagorowski. And so they can now look at this as, hey, we won our last game and we had a big celebration and we hung a banner. And in a weird way, it actually might have helped because I don't think they would have gone very far without Marcus.
Typical Creighton fan.
Actually, it's probably good that we didn't get to go to the tournament.
Yay, coronavirus!
We'll never have to wonder.
All right. I think I'm going to bed. Sorry, we did it for an hour and a half.
We did. Wow.
Jack, you sound so down right now, man.
This was supposed to make you happy.
No, it was fun. It was. I mean, in the end, I wish I could make my point better about how I'm impervious to trash talk, but maybe I didn't articulate it well. So, Joe, hold on. Let me end with this.
Joe wants to fall asleep to the sound of our voices.
Just listen to a radio replay, Joe.
Joe, go to Pornhub.
So I'm open to do one of these again. I don't know if Schaefer's invited back since he didn't show up the first time, but
did we ever figure out what he was hungover from?
I had never said that. You just said it for the first time.
I assume that's what he was saying. I don't know.
Too much healthy stuff.
I don't know. But
you drank too much water.
All right, so we'll do this again sometime. But
seemed to work okay.
Yeah, this sounded great. I thought I might use my actual microphone next time.
Yeah, I was wondering if you would.
Yeah, I got my XLR cable. I'm just using my superior MacBook Pro.
You don't need to. It's all.
How does my mic sound? I just got this headset for gaming. I know.
Outside of the breathing earlier, it sounds good.
I'm impervious to trash talk, but not to heavy breathing.
Man, so many people are being really nice right now and saying thanks. I appreciate all of the thanks.
Dude, we're gonna do it again. It'll be even better.
I'm gonna go watch Libman show last week tonight and get mad at Trump. I can't wait.
Sounds good.
Wow.
Is it new?
Oh yeah, he's doing it from his house.
I can't imagine it can be very good. By the way, if you guys want a new beer to try, this Deschutes is really good.
If you
want
the
hazy one,
this is the fresh haze IPA.
I thought we had that for One Beer Friday before, John.
Did we have this one?
I don't know if we had the hazy one.
Oh, I
don't think we did.
If you want to do a hard seltzer to try, Corona has one. I feel bad for them. They're losing business. So
Oh my gosh.
My dad's been buying it too. I drink Jim and Coke.
Well, we're
Alright.
doing product placement. Light beer from Miller. Less filling. Tastes great.
All right, I'm ending it. See y'all. We'll do
Bye.
it again. We'll do it again.
Good night.
Have a
Good night, everybody.
Coke and a smile.
Stay away from